816-5555, Jacksonville. Let's go into the night with Rick Ballou on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Friday night and a tremendous amount of money being dumped right now on the Jacksonville Jaguars. We are officially 25 hours away. Tomorrow night we'll have it for you, but Liam Cohen announced a day ago that he would play his starters, that he would play Trevor Lawrence, that he would play Travis Hunter both ways. For how long, we shall see. He also had a sit-down yesterday with Kay Adams and said it's probably going to be about a quarter for the starters. Mike Tomlin says, you know what? You don't need a lot of runway to take off with his veterans, even the new guys. So he's going to sit down about 20 players. What has that done? Well, I'll tell you what it's done. From Portland, Maine, to Duval, to Portland, Oregon, everyone is betting Jaguars, 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 Jaguars. The legend himself, the Philly Godfather, is playing Jaguars first quarter. The line has moved from even to -4.5. So significant movement. The total as well, an additional point. It's gone from 35 and a hook to now 36 and a hook. We'll check the money later this hour. Rafael Esparza is going to join us on this Friday, but I don't know if you're aware of this, Dylan, but I want to say so far 4 for 4, the overs are in the preseason.
I haven't paid attention. I know the Hall of Fame game went over. I don't know what the other games did last night.
I think all three did.
Yeah, I know that. I would assume the Seahawks Raiders did because that was a 46 points.
Yeah, so we'll ask about that. You know, I still maintain if you're betting a lot of money on the preseason, you really need to be, you really need to be checked. But hey, the bottom line here, it doesn't matter what the sport is, what the situation is, it's an investment, right? It's about making bank. And if you are a gambler, maybe there's something to see here. Maybe there's something to take advantage of as we get ready for this game coming up tomorrow night. All right, we're going to have a lot of fun over the next 2 hours. Our final show, obviously, up until game time tomorrow, and I'll see you out at the bank. But, there's really a lot of things I want to go through over the next couple of hours. Number one, I spent a lot of time on this today, and it was really difficult. And for me to say that it was difficult, what that means is that it's been very good for the Jaguars over at the Miller Electric Center. I came up with a top 10. All right, the 10 players who have stood out for me and who I think I would describe as the best players through 3 weeks of training camp. And I'm going to go through that, probably do it after our first break. I'll go from 10 to 1. Incredibly subjective, just my opinion, okay? But I'm going to give that to you anyway. So we're going to go through camp stars. Then I want to dive into what to look for tomorrow night, okay? And that in itself is really fascinating. I just talked about it with Hayes. I want a clean game. I don't want any mistakes for the starters. If your second and third team are creating penalties in the third and fourth quarter, that's fine. I'm talking about your starters. And I'm talking about penalties that you can't make, right? There's a difference between, whether it's a late hit or whether it is, targeting, which maybe isn't the best example, but I think a lot of those targeting, it's a split second where the head drops, either the receiver and or the defensive back. Those to me are hard plays. And what you're trying to do is make a good play. If something like that is going to happen, it's part of the game. It's the mental stuff. You know, it's if you see Trevor all of a sudden having to take his hands from under center and wave a wide receiver or wave a tight end from the left side to the right side with the understanding that they did not know that they were supposed to be either in motion or on the other side. Things like that. Certainly, you know, jumping off sides. That is a huge part of it for me. And again, it wasn't a good week in practice, particularly on Tuesday. And I guess the early part of Wednesday, they did improve throughout the remainder of the week. But, you know, that is something that absolutely I am looking for. And let me share one other component before we do move on, because I do want to spend more time on this. But let's get right down to it. I want to see the first team offense score. Okay? Period. Score. You're going up against second teamers. I want to see them run it. I want to see them pass it. And I want to see them drive the field. And I want to see them score. If you have to settle for a field goal, not nearly as excited, but at least that's a hell of a lot better than you've been getting as Jaguar fans here for years and years and years and years. I cannot go a week. It feels like I cannot go a show without just pouring out my disgust for how poor the offense has been at 1 o'clock on a Sunday. The defense at times has played well. Special teams has played well. The offense has been in a coma. That changes tomorrow night. I want to see this team score. I want to see a first-team offense that is gelled, okay? And you look at last Friday night, a week from tonight. Trevor Lawrence had a very good scrimmage. Some have said it's his best effort ever as far as doing things along those lines. Obviously, I'm talking about, you know, not the regular season or preseason or even the playoffs, but as far as, you know, a scrimmage or a mock game, whatever, he did whatever he wanted, including on that last drive. And then he made the mistake. He threw a pick in the red zone, another huge area of massive concern where Jacksonville was so bad last year in the red zone. Of course, Liam Cohen, Baker Mayfield had the best overall red zone in pro football. He makes the mistake. I asked Grant Udinski about that. I think it was yesterday. I don't know. It might have been Wednesday. And Udinski said kind of what you thought he would say. But here's my point. You can't have that. And I want to see them work on it, and I want to see them be successful. The last thing I want is for the offense to get a couple of series. You know, if they do fall short, or if, you know, hypothetically speaking, if Trevor made that mistake, and then, you know, you get in the locker room after and you hear from Liam Cohen, you hear from Trevor Lawrence, and they're like, oh, yeah, we got to clean that up. No. I don't want any more cleanup, okay? This can't happen. So let's get that right out on the table right here, right now, more than anything. It is a preseason game. It means nothing. Right? Wrong. This team can't score. This team is asleep when the game begins. And most of them have been led by Trevor Lawrence. Not his fault. These plays are designed, all right? They are scripted. Trevor's forced to run them. You know, we don't know exactly how much he can actually change at the line of scrimmage, but he's been on top of a lot of this, right? And you get used to the same old, and breaking a routine is very difficult. I want to see that tomorrow night. I mean, I'm sure there's some people out there saying, come on, Ballou, in the long run, it means nothing. Whether they score tomorrow night, they go 3 and out, it doesn't matter. The only thing that does is a month from now when they play host to Carolina. I'm going to disagree with that. You've got to turn this thing around. Everything from not scoring on offense when they got the ball a year ago to being the worst in the NFL among, 18 games in a row without scoring in your opening possession and averaging just over, 3 points a game in the first quarter. You got to change that, right? The best way to do so is tomorrow night. So I can't ever remember for the life of me, you know, even if it was a quarterback change, even if it was Garrard, you know, replacing Leftwich, or it was rookie quarterbacks like Leftwich, or, you know, when Gabbard or Bortles, or no matter what it was, I can't remember myself sitting around here saying, it's a preseason game and I need this offense to score the first time they touch the ball. I've never said anything like that, but it's the way that I feel. I'm that deeply concerned about this part of this football team. So hopefully that is a positive tomorrow night. If you want to agree or disagree, let's have at it. 641-1010 text line, Lifetime Enclosures. Also on YouTube tonight. You can go to 1010XL into the night. All right, so we're going to do that. We're also going to do position battles. I'll tell you who I think will not play tomorrow night and also who I would sit down. You said starters are going to play. There's a couple of guys that regardless, would sit down. And obviously that's no one on the offensive line, if you just heard what I said one moment ago. Shmunez Vision, thank you. I want to welcome them in as they bring you opening comments each and every night right here. And, you head to the weekend and you got a lot of good stuff going on. Hopefully that is the case. Some beach, some golf, some Jaguars football, family, friends. I hate it for you if your eyes are bothering you. First of all, there's a ton of pollen out there. You may have an allergy. You're scratching your eyes. You got red eyes. That's an issue. Shmunez Vision. Secondly, you notice right now, a few minutes past 6 o'clock, that your eyes are not nearly as strong as they were when you got up this morning. That's only normal. Fatigue, right? What about 20/20? What about laser eye vision, where you would never have to worry about your eyes again, never have to take out your contacts in the middle of the night or look around the house for where you left your readers? No, just having laser eye surgery. Shmunez Vision, more than 30 years worth of experience. If you talk about Dr. Neil and Dr. Catherine Shmunez, as well as Dr. John Hunt. And then obviously there are things that can be far more serious, right? Cataract, refractive surgery. Again, those are the three individuals. They've been doing it for more than 3 decades. They are the folks you will talk to, and they are the folks who will also perform surgery if needed. Just check them out. Go to Shmunez Vision. You can also go to Instagram, get all of the testimonials at Shmunez Vision. All right, we are packed. I love Friday shows. It's going to be a good weekend in Duval. I mean, this preseason game actually has a little bit of juice to it, in my opinion, with the starters playing and Travis Hunter going both ways. It's, I think it's about as appealing as it can be for a preseason football game. At least that's my opinion. All right, we got plenty to do. Again, 641-1010 text line. That is brought to you by Lifetime Enclosures and on YouTube. Go to 1010XL into the night.
1010XL's Hayes Carline represents you in the locker room.
So you got to up your game.
Interview persons of interest so you'll have the information you need to get ready for game day.
Time to put on your game face.
Opened by Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors.
I'm Chris Campione. Veterans have given so much in the service of our country, but when it comes to legal challenges, you shouldn't have to fight alone. At Campione Law, we're here to help veterans like you get the support and compensation you deserve. Whether it's a workplace injury, a personal injury claim, or navigating a veteran's disability claim, we'll stand by your side every step of the way. Your service to our country matters. Let us serve you with the dedication and respect you deserve. Call Campione Law for a free consultation today. Campione Law, fighting for veterans, fighting for justice. Visit CampioneLaw.com.
Campione Law. If a storm impacts our area, JEA is ready to respond. Our team of over 2,000 employees is prepared to move in when the storm moves on. Once restoration efforts begin, we won't stop until everyone is back online. And we'll keep you informed with real-time updates at JEA.com and the MyJEA app. We're ready for storm season and want you to be too. Visit JEA.com/storm to learn what you can do now to prepare.
XL Primetime is back weekdays noon to 2, and on Wednesdays, join Dr. George Bari at 1:20 for the latest in sports injuries from all the big names in the game. Make sure you catch Dr. George Bari on XL Primetime Wednesdays at 1:20 on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Looking to elevate your game night experience? Look no further than Best Bet. We're not just a card room, we're your destination for excitement, fun, and big wins. Whether you're a seasoned player or new to the game, we have something for everyone. Join us at Best Bet Jacksonville, Orange Park, or St. Augustine for thrilling tournaments, exciting promotions, and a vibrant atmosphere that will take your game night to the next level. Elevate your game night at Best Bet. Visit bestbetjacks.com to learn more. That's bestbetjacks.com.
Looking for your new favorite hangout this football season? Try Voodoo Brewing Company in the heart of San Marco. Locally owned and community-focused, Voodoo Brewing serves up award-winning beers, scratch-made upscale pub fare, and laid-back vibes where everyone's welcome. For live music, trivia nights, and all the football action this season, make Voodoo Brewing Company Jacksonville your new favorite spot on San Marco Square.
The Golf Club of Southampton has big plans for 2026, renewing the greens plus plenty more. But right now is the time to take advantage of member opportunities before the big renovation. Now until the end of September, you can join and save 50% off their initiation fee plus $500 back in a gift card with a 12-month commitment. All the details are at golfsouthampton.com. Playability for every skill level and a huge practice area to hone your game. Lock in now and enjoy membership privileges at the Golf Club of Southampton.
For over 55 years, Green Acres Sporting Goods has proudly served Jacksonville from the corner of Normandy and Hammond Boulevard. From archery to hunting and fishing, they've got the gear, service, and know-how to get you outdoor ready. Stop by their full-service archery pro shop and check out their wide selection of firearms. And while you're there, sign up for their weekly concealed weapon classes. You can find it all at greenacresporting.com.
Hey, Jacksonville DDH. Dreamfinders Danny Hicken here with the scoop from Dreamfinders Homes, your national builder of the year. We've got first-year interest rates as low as 2.99% in homes in 20-plus communities throughout Northeast Florida. If you're house hunting, make sure your first pick Dreamfinders Homes, the proud official home builder of the PGA Tour, the Florida Gators, and your Jacksonville Jaguars. Visit dfhsalesevent.com today and tell them Dreamfinders Danny sent you.
Are you looking for a place to outfit your truck or van? It's Catlin Truck Accessories. For 105 years and 4 generations, Catlin is the name you can count on. This is Keith Catlin, and we know trucks and vans too, from Lear toppers, ladder racks, van shelving, strobe lighting, roll and lock bed covers, and everything in between. If you want quality products and great customer service, there's only one name. It's Catlin.
Who can you count on? Count on Catlin.
For 105 years, you can count on Catlin.
1010XL is presented by Farrah & Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Into the Night with Rick Ballou on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Happy birthday, Edge! 64 years young, so much life ahead of him. Born David Howell Evans, actually from the UK, but we refer to him simply as the Edge. Seen YouTube 29 times. I'd like to make it 30. I guess they're going to go on a massive tour in 26, 27. Just don't make it during football season. Tonight's show brought to you by Alexander Law Practice. You can get all the details. Just go to alexanderlawpractice.com and, let me spell it out for you because I do feel if you're in a situation like this. You may know someone who's in a situation like this. They're up against it. They're alone. They were injured in a car accident, and their life has spiraled out of control, right? You can't afford to get the car paid. You can't pay bills. You can't get to work. You've tried calling some of these huge law firms, and, they just put you on a list. Here's what I'll tell you about Alexander Law Practice. You call, you get an immediate call back at 400-6600. Free call, free review, free consultation. And then you start to ask questions. And Rick Alexander, who's got more than 30 years of experience in this business, is going to take you through everything, okay? And here's what you need to know. You need to ask questions because they can be incredibly creative, okay, and give you the individualized attention you deserve. You're never going to pay out of pocket. Obviously, there's going to be a payday at the end of the road, but that may not do you any good right now. You need things fixed now. Again, these are the questions that you ask Alexander Law Practice. I can't afford to pay for my car. I can't afford to get to work. These are the type of questions. I want you to take notice and take down the number 400-6600 or go to Alexander Law Practice online to get all of the details. Still in Denmark, how are you?
I'm excellent. I'm thinking about putting a bet on the first quarter for the Jaguars game tomorrow.
Looks like easy money, doesn't it?
I mean, the Jack Stars are playing. The Steelers, you don't know, and it's all about information. So, I don't know.
Take a lot of research to do, but I would love to see how things have gone from a 4-game preseason to a 3-game preseason where, again, it felt like years ago, for the most part, you did have that blueprint or understanding about which teams are doing this and which teams are going to doing that philosophy-wise about playing starters. This 3-game set's weird. I mean, Jacksonville's won 6 straight. I know they didn't face a starting quarterback a year ago. They're not going to face a starting quarterback tomorrow night. Aaron Rodgers is out. So, again, from a gaming perspective, do what you want. It is the preseason. But I would be, a little bit alarmed with that, as I always am. Okay. Here's my opinion. I'm going to go through it. 12 practices. That includes a scrimmage a week ago last night or a week ago tonight, when we saw that inside the bank. This is my opinion only. These are the top 10 players that I have seen in 3 weeks of practice at the Miller Electric Center. I'm going to go from 10 to 1. I'm going to start with Parker Washington, okay? This may be arguably the only reserve on the list, but he's been that good. He has made a play every single day. As a matter of fact, I may replay the Parker Washington interview a little bit later on the program if you missed it earlier this week. When I do player interviews, I only do them for like 2.5, 3 minutes when I'm out there. Just my way of looking at it. If you get guys on the horn, you guys on the phone or whatever, that's a different situation. But that's just always the way I've looked at it. Anyway, Parker Washington, number 10. Off to a really good start. He knows all of the positions. He's had incredible hands. I can remember one drop, but we've seen him with extension. We knew that his route tree was plentiful because he learned all of the wide receiver positions a year ago. And that ended up being really invaluable for him because he's been able to take that, even though this is a totally new offense, still with that understanding. A lot of people perceive Parker Washington as a slot guy and a slot guy only. That's wrong. He can play any one of those wide receiver positions, and he's had a really good camp. At number 9, Tyson Campbell. Those who cover this team every day could certainly argue this point and say, come on, Ballou, Tyson Campbell should be in the top 5. He's been that good. I'll just say it's been a lot of really good football playing and by big-time players 3 weeks in. And, yes, you can make a case that Tyson Campbell should be higher up there. Tyson Campbell, his lower body looks more compact than it has been. I didn't notice it during OTAs and what have you, but obviously that must have happened because he didn't go away for 6 weeks and come back. But maybe I just paid more attention once training camp got underway. He appears to be healthy at this point. He appears to be very confident at this point. The battles that he has had with these wide receivers, he has won many of them. And I like the fact that he has been, outwardly yelling about his accomplishment and doing things along those. I think it's kind of cool. Got almost, taking a step ahead as a leader. And, that was a little bit of a concern last year. I mean, just look at what Jarian Jones said when they brought in Jordan Smith. So I'm going to go with Tyson Campbell at number 9. At number 8, I'm going to go Brenton Strange. He's been a mark of consistency. Okay? I think they really like what Brenton Strange gives them as far as a blocking tight end. The only offseason decision that I would argue with that the new brass of the Jaguars made was giving Evan Ingram away, just saying goodbye, and then eating more than $13 million of his contract, being part of the dead money with the salary cap. Brenton Strange has done it all. He made a grab, might have been Thursday, might have been Wednesday. It was down the sideline. Good coverage by Lloyd, okay? Devin Lloyd, and he reached out and made a play that only a few tight ends in the NFL can make. And I just think he's been consistent day in, day out. And, when you look at this offense, you start talking about the receivers and you start talking about the running backs, and then you get to, the tight end. But I think he's been that impressive. So I'm going to say at number 8, Brenton Strange. I just mentioned running backs. I forgot to mention this at the beginning. I did not put running backs in my top 10 because I wanted to single out that group. That's been the best group in camp, in my opinion. Now, I think you could argue with me about perhaps wide receivers. I think you could argue with me perhaps with defensive ends, okay? But for me, it's been the 5 running backs. Each and every one of them has looked impressive. And I know you're looking at these 3 rookies, and including Allen Jr. as maybe a goal line guy or a good guy, your best option in the pass protection, and may have the best hands in the NFL and or on in the Jaguars backfield is what I'm trying to say, not the NFL. And then you look at Tootin, who I asked yesterday if he's the fastest guy in the league. Okay. But I still think you'll see against Carolina, it's ETN and Tank. It's Tank and it's ETN. That has been the best group, in my opinion. All 5 of those running backs. That's impressive. Really is. At number 7 for me is Diami Brown. And he didn't get off to the greatest of starts. There was a little, struggle early on, and there were attempts of deep balls from Trevor to Brown early in practice. A lot of those contested by the aforementioned Tyson Campbell. But we saw the growth. And, he went through a stretch with like 3 consecutive practices where he had at least 4 receptions and a touchdown every day out there at the Miller Electric Center. And you could just see it evolving. I have no problem saying this. Brown, Hunter, and Washington, in my mind, appear to be ahead of Thomas Jr. when you look at the relationship with Trevor Lawrence and the understanding of this new offensive scheme. Now, doesn't matter what I say, it matters what you hear. Some of you may take that as Ballou saying Parker Washington's better than Brian Thomas Jr. I'm not saying that. All the time, I state that I believe Brian Thomas Jr. is the best player on this team. But it's been a struggle. Openly, it's been a struggle. Now, I asked Trevor about it this week. He gave us a very, very long answer on it. It was like a 15-second answer. Liam Cohen has talked about this. We saw the frustration by Thomas Jr. himself after a drop where he kicked the ball. So it's there. It doesn't mean it can't be fixed, right? And that's actually, when I get to things that I'm going to look for tomorrow night, you better believe that's a big part of it. Thought yesterday ended on a real positive note. At the end of practice, once again, Trevor Lawrence rolling out and completing the pass to Brian Thomas Jr. the way he did was good to see. But I'm going to put Brown in at number 7. Okay. When I come back, I'll be able to go through the top 6. And again, some of you have been out there to watch practice when fans were allowed out. If you want to respond, you can. I also know that you do a tremendous amount of research on your own. So you may have your own opinion. A couple of ways to join us. 641-1010 on the text line. That's brought to you by Lifetime Enclosures. And again, you can get us on YouTube tonight at 1010XL into the night.
Summer's winding down, and Jenkins Hyundai of Jacksonville has great deals. Cruise on the roadways and highways in a stylish new Tucson, pack the family into a spacious Santa Fe, or explore our selection of quality pre-owned vehicles. Find hot deals on Hyundais. Backed by our exclusive nationwide lifetime warranty, Jenkins Hyundai of Jacksonville.com. Visit us on Atlantic Boulevard. For all life's journeys, Jenkins Hyundai of Jacksonville is here. Welcome to the family. See dealer for details.
My son had a meniscus surgery a couple of years ago. When it's smooth as silk, Dr. Kevin Murphy did it. Was playing tennis in 2 weeks. This is Patrick Malarkey, and I highly recommend
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
David Garrard here. I've had the PRP treatment from Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, and my knees are really doing well. Platelet-rich plasma treatment may be the answer for whatever is hurting you.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
DivorceMenOnly.com. This is Kenny Lay of Kenny Lay & Associates. Our firm specializes in representing men in family law. That's all we do. That's our only focus. We can help with all of your family law needs, such as divorce, custody, alimony, and child support. For over a decade, we have helped thousands of men with these types of issues. We even have an appellate division ready to challenge a judge's ruling. If you need a family law attorney, go to DivorceMenOnly.com. DivorceMenOnly.com. Offices, Jacksonville.
It's tune-up time, and Florida Home AC, the official AC partner of the Jaguars, wants to partner with you for a cool summer season. Tune up your AC unit right now so it's running at peak performance when you need it most. Just call 777-4300 and order a tune-up for just $59. Keep your unit humming at optimal level. Log on to FloridaHomeAC.com and take advantage of their savings. Keep cool with Florida Home AC. That's 777-4300.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation, an irregular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduced stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. Stroke risk may increase. Eliquis can cause serious and potentially fatal bleeding. Don't take if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or bleed longer. A spinal injection increases blood clot risk, which may cause paralysis. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding or bruising, or back pain, tingling, numbness, muscle weakness, or incontinence. Aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
A lot of companies will tell you they're the best. At Custom Tree Surgeons, they show you every time. Custom Tree Surgeons has built an all-pro team. Every tree service professional has years of experience, continually trained and certified. They know what, when, and how to handle any job. It gets done efficiently and quickly by a team of experts. So for tree trimming, removal, stump grinding, and emergency services, forget any name other than Custom Tree Surgeons. There is no job they can't do better. Go to our website, CustomTreeSurgeons.com. That's CustomTreeSurgeons.com. And let them show you how the job is supposed to get done.
Yo, this is Tony from Tony D's. Are you looking for a great slice of pizza? Well, we have about 12 varieties. Most places won't have slices of pizza after lunch. At Tony D's, you can get a slice all day. It's always fresh at Tony D's Pizza. Bay Meadows and 295.
AA Automotive helps keep your vehicle in dependable and safe condition. Call Sam, Harry, or Joe, and they'll check your brakes, tires, fluids, electric, and motor, so your ride runs smooth on the road. That's AA Automotive on Richard Street.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Into the Night with Rick Ballou on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
We lost Bobby Bowden on this day back in 2021. Very sad day for Florida State fans and just football fans in general. We'll always have the utmost respect for this man. Man, to start in this business under him, you just can't imagine what that was like. And then he gave me full keys to his program. Still marvel over that. The things that I was allowed to do. I mean, here it is today. You know, Mike Norvell closes down practice. You can't even watch them. There's leaks all over the place. Bowden used to have us watch board drills, for crying out loud. It was unbelievable. It just was. And it's a new world, but anyway, rest in peace, Bobby. What a start. And, you know, to learn from him and then come over here and learn from Tom Coughlin, who's going to be a Hall of Famer himself. two totally different styles of coaches. It was the best. It was. I mean, there's just no way to compare it when you look at those two and the way that they approach the game. Bowden was one of those where he never thought the media could affect the outcome of the game. You can watch my practice. You can talk to my players. He didn't believe it would have an outcome. Tom Coughlin, the exact opposite. Tom Coughlin hated to talk about injuries, hated to give any type of insight at all that, they thought could help the other team. So it's just the way you're wired. It's your overall belief. I'm going through the top 10 Jaguar players that I've witnessed in the first 3 weeks of training camp over at the Millard Electric Center. I went Parker Washington 10, Tyson Campbell 9, Brenton Strange at 8, Diami Brown 7. Let's get to number 6, Josh Hines-Allen. And again, I can just feel it right now. I can feel it. It's almost like a buzz that those who normally are out there covering practice on a daily basis, some would argue with me on this point and say, hell no, Ballou, he's in the top 5. And again, very subjective list. I understand it. I think this is a good thing. There's a lot of players that you can really point to right now and say they've had an outstanding camp. The weight loss is noticeable. All right. He and Walker have been just dominant at the defensive end position. And again, I think there's a little bit more depth there tomorrow night. We'll see if that actually comes into play. So at number 6, I'll go with Josh Hines-Allen. All right, number 5, Foye Oluokun. Why would they ever move him outside of the middle linebacker position? And they did a year ago. Foye has been, with all of these other great defensive, and I say great defensive players, okay, the impressiveness that I've seen defensively so far, that includes individual players, Foye Oluokun is still the leader of this defense. He's the green dot, and he's set at middle linebacker. Had a very good camp. Number 4, Trevor Lawrence. This may be Trevor Lawrence's best training camp to date. He has had to learn a totally new scheme, new personnel. They've tinkered with everything, including his footwork. He looks comfortable. He looks like he has completely grasped the Liam Cohen offense. He's taking care of the football. Okay? 4 interceptions. I mean, he's probably thrown 150, 160, 170 balls. 4 picks. Okay? Taking care of the ball. And they're not going live on him, obviously, but it just feels like in situations where he's been forced to tuck and run that he is taking care of the football. It's been a really good training camp, and he's healthy for Trevor Lawrence. Put him in at 4. Number 3, Jordan Smith. That's also my biggest surprise. Really didn't do a lot for me when I was told they were signing Jordan Smith, who will be 30 here in 2 weeks. This guy has totally proven me wrong. Every single day he makes a play. A pass breakup every single day. And he is also a leader that has been missing back there. Just go to what Jerry Jones said a year ago. Jordan Smith has been very, very impressive. And I asked him yesterday if he expects to start in the base and then slide over to nickel in the slot, and he gave the perfect answer that you would expect. I'll do whatever coach wants me to do. But when we talk about competition a little bit later on, we'll get back to Smith. Number 2, Travis Hunter. I think you can make the case in the 12. Now, I can't say that anymore because the last 3, he's gone back and forth, putting a penny on. He's putting on both sides of the football. Well, let's say the first 7 or 8 practices. One day Walker was dominant. Outside of that, I think you can make the case that whatever side Travis Hunter played on, whether it was offense or defense, that side of the football was better that day. Think about that for a moment. Better that day. He brings that much. The only complaint that I would have so far, we haven't seen Hunter get targeted enough when he's on defense. Right? He gave up a touchdown this week to Joshua Cephas. Even that scrimmage, if you go back to it, he played 38 snaps in the scrimmage. He played 17 on offense. He played 21 on defense. There was one, short route that he was involved in, but I would have liked to have seen him getting challenged. That's my only complaint. Offensively, he's been just spectacular. I mean, as good as advertised, even better. He's number 2. Number 1 is Trayvon Walker. He's been the best player in camp. He has been absolutely as advertised. If there was ever a chance for him to say, you know what, I think I'll hold out, right now would be the time because his stock is at the ultimate high. Now, that's not a concern because that's not the way he is. I have been a huge, I've had a huge opinion on wait. Don't get a deal done with Walker, right? Let this thing play out a little bit. And, this comes on the heels of some of the enormous deals we've seen with Watt and Garrett. And he's not in that category, but it doesn't mean that his agency is not going to represent this in that particular fashion. He's got 2 years left. Let's cut straight to the chase. 10.5 sacks, good football player. It feels like they still haven't used him the way that maybe we would like to see him used. He has to officially take that step to the next level. Okay? Can this guy be elite? Can we put him in the category of those that I just mentioned in a year or two? Is he headed that way? Or is there going to be some more inconsistency and, he's just going to be looked at as a good football player headed towards a very good football player? That's not good enough for me looking at him. This right here, to me, spells elite. Okay? When those top 100 football players come out, I don't think Walker's on any of those lists, right? Weren't the only Jaguars on that list Brian Thomas Jr. and Josh Hines Allen? That's it, right? It's time. I mean, I'm talking superstar. That's what this football team needs. Superstars. Brian Thomas Jr. is headed towards being a superstar, even though he's had an inconsistent camp. Can Walker get there? Can Travis Hunter get there? The ultimate goal is to take Trevor Lawrence there. Can Tyson Campbell, still got a shot? Can he head towards there? That's another part in this whole thing, is finding really, really good football players and then make them special. Where all of a sudden, you look at Pittsburgh, they're sitting out all these top players, and most of them are aging outside of Watt. Haywood's still good, but you understand my point. You see teams, they have top players, elite players. Trayvon Walker, that's where he needs to head. And I think he's got a chance to do that. He's been the best player in camp, in my opinion. All right, your reaction to that is coming up. 641-1010. That is the text line. It's brought to you by Lifetime Enclosures.
It's a new season.
I like where this team's headed.
A new era.
The fan base has been great.
A new hope.
We're all here to win.
Yes! This is where the dream begins. The Pittsburgh Steelers, Saturday at 7 on 1010XL.
Here's Linda Beaver.
Hey, school's in session, and here's today's lesson. We have hundreds of certified vehicles to choose from, starting as low as $89.99. Plus, they come with a 7-year, 100,000-mile peace of mind warranty and free oil changes. That means you and your soon-to-be drivers will be protected. Plus, every purchase allows us to fund teachers' projects for the entire school year. Your next assignment, get to Beaver Toyota in St. Augustine, Beaver Chevrolet in Jacksonville, or Beaver Mitsubishi in St. Augustine. We're here to wow you and our teachers.
Now this is how you end a summer. Under the lights, surrounded by history, the driver's last shot at the playoffs, your last chance to see regular season action. Friday night, Xfinity lights the fuse. Saturday night, the Cup Series delivers the fireworks. This is Daytona. This is everything. NASCAR weekend at Daytona International Speedway, August 22nd and 23rd. Get your tickets now at DaytonaInternationalSpeedway.com.
This date in sports history is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On August 8th, 1992, the original United States Dream Team wins the basketball gold at the Barcelona Olympics.
All
Are you 18 years or older, just got married, just got divorced, or have children? Listen up. Have you done your last will and estate planning? You have questions? Call Matt Hinson with the Hinson Law Firm. Reach him at 527-1700. Office is Jacksonville, Florida. And don't let the state decide your fate.
Football season is here, so I've got to get organized. Lauren Brooks here. Closets by Design creates custom storage for every space, lifestyle, and budget. From closets to garages to laundry rooms or entertainment centers, wherever that clutter has taken over. Call today to schedule a free in-home consultation and receive 40% off plus an additional 15% off with free installation. Yes, that's 40% off plus an additional 15% off this month only. Call 904-878-9393 or visit closetsbydesign.com.
Mark Watson with Hardball Creative. If you have a school, team, or group that would benefit from a team store, you're in luck because we now offer team stores. Check us out at hardballcreative.com.
Hardball Creative. Hardball does it all.
The 2025 NFL season is just around the corner, and we can't wait for you to be back at the bank. Your Jacksonville Jaguars are starting off the preseason going head-to-head with the Pittsburgh Steelers Saturday, August 9th. Be at the bank as the Jags take the field for the first time this season and grab your tickets for a 7 p.m. kickoff by going to jaguars.com/tickets or call 904-633-2000. We'll see you soon, Jags fans.
Time now for a medical recap. A health and wellness tip from Jaguars head team physician, Dr. Kevin Kaplan.
Here's a simple tip for shoulder health to improve your posture. Slouching can put extra stress on your shoulders, leading to pain and injury. Make sure your head is over your shoulders are relaxed and pulled back, and your spine is properly aligned, whether you're sitting or standing. If you sit for long periods of time, make sure to get up and take breaks and work on pulling your shoulders back. Get up and get moving, Jacks, and go Jags.
Hey everybody, it's Mike Dempsey, and I only like to recommend the best, which is why I'm proud to say that I chose Pella Windows and Doors for my own home. And now's a great time to upgrade your home with 0% financing for 60 months. That's 5 years of interest-free payments on the best windows and doors in the business. Don't wait. Schedule a free consultation at PellaJacks.com or visit their showroom on Phillips Highway just north of Bay Meadows. For quality you can trust and savings you can't miss, that's Pella Windows and Doors.
What Major League Baseball team has never been to a World Series? The answer next.
Southern Oak Insurance is proud to continue offering coverage statewide. Financial stability makes Southern Oak Insurance a wise choice for your homeowner's insurance needs. Log on to southernoak.com.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
The Seattle Mariners, who were founded in 1977, have never been to the World Series.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Into the night with Rick Ballou on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
No place I'd rather be than right here on Hogan Road. That is the truth. It's always the truth. If I had one out, however, the Blue Crab House. Right now it's 648. I'd go with their Bloody Marys. I think they're the best Bloody Marys in town. And remember, on Sunday, doors actually open at noon. You can get $2.50 Bloody Marys and mimosas for $2.50. That's the deal Sunday, 12 to 9. Of course, they're open tonight till 9 o'clock, tomorrow, 4:30 to 9, right off of San Jose. Just visit the good folks there on Julington Creek Road, Blue Crab House. Okay, we had 3 games last night in the NFL. We have 3 tonight. Atlanta hosting Detroit at 7. Carolina hosting Cleveland at 7. Maybe some of you will take an early peek at the Panthers. And the Patriots hosting the Commanders tonight. Apparently, they're, the statue of Tom Brady was placed out there not too long ago. That game is actually coming up at 7:30. Where'd it go? I just lost it. I had the line.
12 feet tall.
Is it?
Yep. Apparently, he just said he had a couple jokes about the Jets just then.
I'm going to ask Rafael Esparza about this next hour, and we check the money, but I'm looking at the totals here. Atlanta hosting Detroit, 32 and a hook. Cleveland at Carolina, 33 and a hook. Tonight, D.C. and New England, 36 in a hook. I want to say it's 4 for 4 right now, where the overs have cash tickets in the preseason. Yeah. So you can do what you want with that. Okay. We got a couple of minutes here until we really get things going in our second hour, and I'm going to grab some questions. Let me clean that up. All right, and I'll begin at 7 o'clock with it. I'll get to a few of your questions right now. Ballou, am I crazy to think, this is from the 87.99, the upcoming season will be one of two ways. Either Trevor Lawrence is going to have a bad year and we are going to have another look for another quarterback in next year's draft, or we are going to go to the playoffs but win only one game in the postseason and go back to our old ways. Well, your latter part, I think, would be a phenomenal accomplishment, considering you won 4 games a year ago. I got to believe right now that just about every Jaguar fan would settle with winning only one postseason football game this year. That means you made it to the playoffs and you won a playoff football game. I mean, I just saw the latest odds to win the Super Bowl. Jacksonville's way the hell down there. It's like 100-1, right, behind Baltimore and Buffalo, which once again are the two preseason favorites to win next year's Super Bowl. Getting to Trevor Lawrence, even if he has a bad year, no, the $275 million contract hasn't even kicked in yet. So he's getting a pass either way. Okay? I think the focus should be more like this. Do whatever you can to fix it, because he's not going anywhere. And, I mean, even hypothetically speaking, the worst case scenario that you could give, he's still your starting quarterback in a year. Financially, the investment has been made. And that $275 million is going to him. And I think his work ethic and everything else he has shown. Again, I think he's had a really good training camp. I would be in favor of what I believe here. Now, everything has to come into play. They have to run the football. The offensive line is still the problem. You don't have any offensive linemen in my top 10, right? That's still a glaring issue with this football team. And the organization tried with 6 new bodies, but it doesn't mean it's going to work. Let's see here. 1192 Ballou. I could hear it in your voice last year. You're the only one to voice conversation openly. Even still, I fell for it again. I'm starting to get concerned with all these penalties. Polls saying coaches are mid at best. Truth, are we looking at a disaster again this year? You said polls saying coaches are mid at best. Well, the last one I saw, they were ranked 31st out of 32nd. And the major reason being is that there's only 5 years experience for Liam Cohen. Only 1 year in as a play caller. And the results were spectacular, right? But he didn't surround himself with veteran coaches, former head coaches. That's what people will say. A lot of firsts there. I tend to really believe they are coaching the heck out of this bunch. And, maybe you can say the case about all 32 training camps right now. I'm not sure. I've heard problems in Miami. There's been some questions in Chicago with a brand new coach. There's been a few issues. A disaster again this year. Let me be straight. No. A disaster, no. Not like a year ago. This is a better team. This is a better coach team. They have better players. There's a much better attitude. There's a much better culture. Now, it all comes down to wins. You and I both know that. And that game against Carolina is going to be very important, just to snap the funk. And I guess that's not the way to say it, because I feel like they've already done that. They've gotten rid of the cloud. They've gotten rid of the bad news. This organization did not bring back one of their unrestricted free agents. Just think about that for a moment. Not one. Okay, they signed a restricted free agent in Cole Van Landen. They got rid of everyone. So it's a new attitude. So right now, yeah, they've gotten through that and they've done that. But that can change on opening day if they don't play well and they lose to Carolina. Because you know right after me, those next 3 games are very, very difficult. Right? You never would say a must win in week 1, but let me tell you something. Around here, for this entire city, that game against Carolina in 30 days is going to be incredibly important for the reasons that I just mentioned. All right, let's get to hour number 2. Certainly more of your phone calls. I do want to get into, again, what to look for tomorrow night in the preseason game, number 1. I want to go through some position battles as well. So all of that's coming up. It's good to have you with us. He's still in Denmark. My name is Rick Ballou.
Another classic moment in Jags history.
It starts with a great play by Tony Brackett. He knows he's too far upfield to sack Dan Marino, so he's going to take a swipe at the football. Big-time play here by Tony Brackett.
1010XL.
Frank Frangie here. Nimnick Buick GMC is proud to be the #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville. Earned by treating customers with courtesy, respect, and fairness. All part of Nimnick's Treating You Right guarantee. The most Buicks, GMCs, and Jacksonville's only Car Bravo dealer. Nobody but Nimnick. For 3 generations, Nimnick has been the place customers keep coming back to. They treat you right, and they give a bunch back to the community. Visit NimnickBuickGMC.com today to learn more or visit their showroom off Phillips Highway. GMC, we are professional grade.
Don't just stand there. Everything you need to turn $1 into an epic win is in your hand. Hard Rock Bet. Bet it, parlay it, boost it, however you want to do it. From wherever you are to the moon. Bet anytime a line, prop, or parlay catches your eye. And withdraw cash when you want it. Hard Rock Bet. Roll with us. New players bet $5 and get $150 instantly in bonus bets. Offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 plus and physically present in Florida to wager. Terms and conditions apply. Concerned about gambling? Please call 1-888-ADMIT-IT.
Big personalities, bold opinions. Lunch just got louder. Josie, Matt, and Leon are XL Prime Time from the big #1 Duval Ford Studios.
Any questions? Yeah, what's lunch?
Noon to 2 on 1010XL.
When your plumbing backs up, your septic's acting shady, or your AC quits on a 95-degree day, who are you going to call? Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning. Don't take just our word for it. Here's what real customers are saying about their experience with our company.
Megan in the office was so helpful and polite. Scheduling was easy, and the tech showed up right on time.
From plumbing and septic to air conditioning, we do it all. Call 904-862-6769 or online at duckduckrooter.com. When you're stuck, call the Duck.
Home of the Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
This is Hayes Carlion for First Florida Credit Union. I bank with First Florida Credit Union because I trust them. I can always count on them when it comes to the vast services they provide. The online banking services are outstanding. So easy to use. Depositing checks through the mobile app is fast and efficient. I also go to the branch off 210 in St. Johns County and the Durbin location. But they have 10 branches in the Jacksonville area. You need to be banking with First Florida Credit Union. They're enriching people every day. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Opportunity Lender.
The team at Hidden Hills Golf Club invites you to book your next round of golf with us. At Hidden Hills, we love the game, and we'll provide you with a memorable golf experience at one of the most unique golf courses in North Florida. Check us out at hiddenhillsgc.com.
Pizza to Tea here, and Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here it's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find the scratch kitchen that comes through in the clutch every day, from lunch to late night? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar. Come on, somebody.
Hey, Hicken here for my friends at Cleaning Freaks at Zero Res. Great time of the year to get your house Zero Resified. And right now, you can get your entire home cleaned from Jacksonville's ultimate carpet cleaner. You'll get 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at just $135. Plus, they're throwing in a free hallway and take $100 off the air duct cleaning. Schedule your appointment at ZeroResJacksonville.com or call 287-5727 and ask for the 1010XL special. Zero Res, spell it backwards or forwards. It spells the same. Zero Res.
Zero Res.
Frank Frangie here for Stanley Pools. If you're dreaming of putting in a pool this year, choosing the right company is the most important decision you'll make. I've trusted Stanley Pools to build my pool, renovate my pool, and maintain my pool. Stanley Pools has been the best in the business since 1988, and they're still family owned. Call them today at 904-269-7277 or find them online at stanleypoolsfl.com.
That's Stanley Pools, a family tradition of fine swimming pools.
Okay, for this Cannons of Jacksonville commercial, we need an idea to really come out with a bang.
Like having a guy shot out of a cannon.
Nah, too messy. In fact, Cannons is known for all your towing needs.
So like my car won't start.
No. Towing products. Cannons does custom welding fabrication and installation of trailer hitches, goosenecks, tow bars, truck racks.
So you might say Cannons is my best shot at finding that inventory in stock?
Boom. You said it.
Visit cannonsofjacks.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Into the Night with Rick Ballou on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Preseason game number 1 for the Jaguars. We'll have all the coverage for you. It begins at 4 o'clock tomorrow. Game time at 7. A lot of money being thrown around on the Jaguars. The line has gone from even to -4.5. Favoring Jacksonville. The total's moved up a point as well from 35 and a hook to 36 and a hook. But, you know, the whole strategy of betting is has changed now. Our good friend, the Philly Godfather, is playing the Jaguars in the first quarter tomorrow night. You know, that whole live in-game betting. But with the announcement of Liam Cohen going to play starters and Mike Tomlin coming out saying, you know, around 20 players, 20 starters are not going to play, has really moved that line. So that is the latest there. I do want to get to, as I said a moment ago, what to look for tomorrow night. This is a really interesting question that I got. 9684. We were just talking about, last one was about if Trevor has a bad year, how they're going to have to draft a quarterback. And I don't agree with that. As I said, I think the only option is to fix him. And, you know, the extension hasn't even kicked in. That $275 million, you know, that gets underway in 2026. But the 9684 says, yada, 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 making a point. And then he goes on to say, should the Jaguars have at least considered taking Sanders in the 5th round? It's a great point because he was around so late in the draft. But I'm not name dropping, but I can remember a specific conversation I had just about this when I was working in Chicago. Every single year, we flew in Brian Baldinger and the late Gil Brandt, and we almost, you know, we had like a weekend symposium where it was several hours on Saturday and several hours on Sunday. We brought in an official too. Who's the old legendary guy? First down. Gosh,
I know you're talking about. I can't remember his name.
We brought him in to explain to us all the rule changes. And, but I remember having this conversation with him and say, well, doesn't it make sense to draft a quarterback like this? And it depends on what the situation is with your team. So you hear about Nick Mullins, and it's like, you know, for some people, it's like, who, what? And you know what? Nick Mullins had a very good camp. But here's the deal. There's no threat, zero, zip, of Nick Mullins replacing Trevor Lawrence. When you draft the guy and bring in someone like Sanders, who has this talent, has the pedigree, has the airport dad of Deion Sanders, even though he reportedly told his dad not to show up in Cleveland, there's more of a look over your shoulder. And that's exactly what Baldinger and Brandt told me, is that the ego of a quarterback, and everyone is measured differently. Everyone's wired differently. But it can be so fragile in a situation like that, that is why you don't draft a quarterback if you are fully invested already in one. It's also why you wouldn't bring in a big name, former starter, a guy who's got a ton of looks in the NFL as a backup. You know? Anyway, that is what I was told. So to answer your question, no. You know, keep him away. And again, you got a camp arm in Wolford or Hennigan, and then you got Nick Mullins. You know, this, I feel very, unfortunately, I feel very comfortable about saying it.
The referee was Red Cashin.
Thank you, Red Cashin. You lose your quarterback, you're screwed. You're screwed. You just are. And there's only a few teams in the NFL that are not. Red Cashin. There you go. He was a lot of fun to meet. Probably my second favorite ever official to meet outside of the Cowboy, Joe West. I would say. First team tomorrow night. What to look for? First team, score a touchdown. Just even on a Saturday night in Duval in the preseason, give the fans what they want. A well-oiled machine. Score. You couldn't last year. I guess you did in your final game, but you know how poor things have been out of the gate for this offense. That was not the case with Liam Cohen in Tampa. They scored in the first quarter. They scored in their opening drive. Pittsburgh's playing their backups, 1 against 2s. I want them to be dominant. I want them to run the ball. I want them to pass the ball. And I want them to score a touchdown. Anything outside of that is going to be a disappointment for me. Number 2, I want a ton of toughness and physicality tomorrow night, particularly in the ditch. I want to see it both on the offensive line and the defensive line. The offensive line remains such a massive question. We don't even know what that starting 5 is going to look like tomorrow night. There's still some battles there. I'd really like to see that emerge. It feels like, yesterday they ran well, but they weren't in pads. And then you look at these running backs who have been so good, but there's been goal line situations where the defense held their own and was actually better than the offense when you need a yard or 2. And that's without Eric Armstead and Mason Smith. So I want to see that. How much are they going to play Travis Hunter tomorrow night? How much do you really need to see? Right? Scrimmage a week ago, or last week, this Friday, 38 snaps, 17 on offense, 21 on defense. There's no way he's going to play 38 snaps. That's nearly half the game. You're not going to do that. But how much are you going to get out of Travis Hunter? And, I'd like to see him absolutely involved with that first team offense, catching some footballs, maybe even catching a touchdown. I'd also like to see defensively, even though it's backups, him get challenged by the Pittsburgh Steelers when it comes to their passing game. Next up, you need a clean game with your starters, especially with the offensive line. Rough week, 5 penalties on Wednesday. Or on Tuesday, a couple of early penalties on Wednesday. If someone touches your quarterback and you give them a pile driver, that's one thing. Okay? But I'm talking about offsides. I'm talking about false starts. I'm talking about not knowing the plays, Trevor having to get up and point to a wide receiver or a tight end and tell them to go from the left side to the right side. All of that type of stuff. And I'm not talking about backups here. I'm talking about starters. A clean game. A well-coached, well-played, no mental mistakes type of game. Want to see that. Finally, we're interested in special teams. They're 2 gunners. Tim Jones, gone. Daniel Thomas has been very solid there, but I just think that his status for this team is really in doubt. You're incredibly deep at safety. Are you going to keep a guy who makes over $2 million a year who is a special teamer only? Or can you get similar play from late draft picks like a Ray Lane or some undrafted rookies and some guys? Christian Braswell's been very active in special teams. You understand where I'm going with this? That cost a little bit less, but may end up benefiting you more. I think that tomorrow night, to me, that's going to be interesting to see who the gunners are on both kickoff and punt. Not something that is going to, create a lot of attention. But for me, the Jaguars have one of the best special team units in the NFL. Okay? As a matter of fact, you'll never get recognition in this city for it but you may have, arguably, the best punter-kicker combination in pro football with a deep snapper. You know, the return game, let's leave a little bit there to be desired, right? It feels like it's Parker Washington. It feels like it's Tank. You know, I'd love to see Bayshell Tootin get an opportunity. The return game, let's hold in check. But as far as punting and kicking, probably the best in the NFL. And you want to have, you know, really good coverage. So, you know, watching who will be a part of that tomorrow night and who will be the two gunners is going to be intriguing to me as well. All right, let's get back to you on it. All right, we come back. Let's grab more of your calls or check that. Let's grab more of your texts at 641-1010, brought to you by Lifetime Enclosures. And I'm also going to go through what I believe are position battles that are still out there and very important tomorrow night. So all of that's coming up. Also, Rafael Esparza. We're going to check all this money, including what's going on in the preseason. He will join us at 6:35.
He's our Big Mac.
Woo! It's Smash Mouth football, baby!
Tom McManus brings his big opinions to Jaguars Today.
Every Friday morning at 10 a.m. on 1010 XL.
Protected by Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors.
Rotator cuff injuries are common among athletes and those who have physically demanding careers. Don't let this injury keep you away from the sport you love. Dr. George Barry here, and the first thing you need to do with a serious shoulder injury is to diagnose where the damage is and how significant it is. Rotator cuff tears are either acute tears sustained during an injury or accident, or degenerative tears. If you're interested in learning more about rotator cuff repair and how our expert team of orthopedic surgeons can help you, call Barry Orthopedics today or visit barryorthopedics.com.
Rock fans, get ready. Mike Campbell and the Dirty Knobs are rolling into the Florida Theater Thursday, August 14th. Founding member of Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, Mike brings raw rock and roll, killer guitar riffs, and that unmistakable edge. Mike Campbell and the Dirty Knobs.
These are the best of times.
Get your tickets now at floridatheater.com. Mike Campbell and the Dirty Knobs, August 14th at Florida Theater.
In late July, Florida's unforgiving heat beats down on the practice field. Every time something you need to know happens at training camp, you'll hear about it on 1010XL, covered by Greenacre Sporting Goods and Roland Reach Plumbing.
Lauren Brooks here from Helmets and Heels. Circa Resort and Casino has two epic pro football contests, Circa Million and Circa Survivor. Circa Million, pick 5 games weekly against the spread for $1 million grand prize. Circa Survivor, 1 pick a week, no spread. Last one standing wins $15 million. Enter at any Circa in Nevada, play anywhere. Sign up for either and get 50% off a 2-night stay. Helmets and Heels will be live from Circa in Vegas on August 22nd. Full contest details at circasports.com and the 1010XL homepage.
As a law enforcement officer, safe roads are one of my top priorities, ensuring everyone can get home safely each day. Some never will, due to aggressive driving, being distracted, or speeding on the roads. And too often, that results in the toughest part of my job, and the longest walk in my life. I'm so sorry. I have some very sad news to share with you.
9 people will be killed on our Florida roadways today. Don't let it be you or a person you love. Buckle up every trip, every time. Let's get everyone home safely. A message from Florida Department of Transportation, Target Zero. For more information, visit targetzerofl.com.
If you are an experienced electrician looking for your next big opportunity, look no further than the Millard Electric Company, a trusted name in the industry for over 96 years. At Millard Electric, we tackle the biggest projects in the city, offering you the chance to showcase your skills on a grand scale. We believe in rewarding hard work with the best pay, top-notch benefits, and an unbeatable culture where people actually care about each other. Take your career to new heights with Millard Electric Company. Apply today at millercareers.com. Millard Electric, an equal opportunity employer.
Frank Frangie here for Coyle & Son Fencing. Jacksonville is full of memorable sports memories. Remember the 2017 AFC Championship game when Miles Jack wasn't down? Do you know what else isn't down? Fences installed by Coyle & Sons. Their fences have been standing tall here in Jacksonville for nearly a century. If you're in the market for a new fence, I recommend calling Coyle & Sons today at 904-356-4821 or visit CoyleJacks.com. That's C-O-Y-L-E Jacks.com. CoyleJacks.com.
The playoff-bound Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp are in full swing at the newly renovated VyStar Ballpark. Your home for affordable family fun. Tickets start at just $5. Fireworks after every Friday home game, and kids round the bases after Sunday games. Log on to jackshrimp.com for tickets and details. Jumbo Shrimp Baseball, affordable, family, fun.
At Performance Painting, we've spent decades protecting commercial properties with durable, long-lasting coatings. And we can bring the same expertise when painting the exterior of your home. With industry-leading materials and a proven process, we extend the life of your home, reducing maintenance costs and preserving its value. Now, for a limited time, save $500 when you hire us to paint your home's exterior. Just mention 1010XL. Go to performancepainting.com to schedule a friendly estimate. Performance Painting. Repair, protect, preserve.
1010XL is presented by Farrah & Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Into the Night with Rick Ballou on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Happy birthday to The Edge. He's only 64. He just became a citizen of Ireland. A lot of people assume that all four were born right there in Dublin. That was not the case for The Edge, who was actually born in the United Kingdom. Hey, you see what's coming up tonight? Max Scherzer, Clayton Kershaw, 217 wins for Kershaw, 218 for Max Scherzer, both over 3,000 career strikeouts. Toronto at LA. That's a 10-10 start tonight. May have to chime into that a little bit later on. This is great. The 1898 says, Ballou, announce sports and leave the coaching to the coaches. I mean, that is one of the greatest texts I've ever received in my life. I mean, what do you think we're paid to do around here? It's to give our opinion on what we see and what's going on. I mean, you can disagree with my opinion. Announce sports. That's funny. That is pretty good. What's the stuff social media? You know what? I'm not going to get involved in any of that, any of the personal stuff. I'm just not. Sorry, I know some of you would love that, but I'm just not going to go down that road. All right, let's look at some positional battles. Is there one battle out there, Dylan, that you're still really interested in? I would look right now and say just about, in my opinion, as we analyze this. All right,
that's for the players' perspective, not the coaching.
Right. Most spots, I believe, are set. There's still a few openings. Is there one that still intrigues you?
I mean, for tomorrow's sake, not one in particular. I guess if I had to say one, it'd be the running back. But I'm not one that's going to think that, what happens in the preseason is going to be indicative on what's going to happen early in the season. I think it's just going to be evolving throughout the whole year. I think it's going to be more of like a hot hand tank with ETN or Tootin. And LaQuinn Allen's, I think, is going to get a lot of third down carries. So not one in particular for tomorrow because I'm pretty set. I think who is going to play what. My more intrigue is just going to be on Travis Hunter, what's going to happen with him and how many snaps he plays and where they line him up on defense.
I think the offensive line is the most important one. I still feel like that is unsettled. Is Patrick McCarry, who is now back, are they going to give him an opportunity? Are they going to say, now let's sit out one more week? There's a difference between teamwork and individual work. Even though McCarry did get back out there and do some things, it's different when you play in a game. A lot of people believe that Chuma Edoga is going to be a part of that starting five. It just becomes a position of where. I watched one-on-one drills a couple of times this week with Leon Searcy, and it was asking him, every rep, because Leon sees things and understands things that I do not. He made an interesting point. He actually thinks that the interior offensive line looks more set right now than both tackle positions. So, Anton Harrison during the scrimmage last week got some snaps at left tackle. As a fan, that 22 out of his 23 starts at Oklahoma was at left tackle. What's going to happen there? Wyatt Milam, who I would think is a huge part of the future, right? Has worked at several offensive line positions. We even saw him get some reps over at left tackle. So, yeah, offensive line certainly does stick out. Okay, it's really the only thing for me on offense because the running backs for me, again, I think that they're going to rotate, and it doesn't matter who's a starter there. You know, if ETN starts, Tank's going to come in. If Tank starts, ETN is going to come in. I think the real intriguing part of that is going to be who's there on third down. A lot of people believe it's going to be, their 7th-round pick in LaQuinn Allen. LaQuinn Allen Jr. has had a very good camp. So I'm not really looking at running back. Defensively, yeah, there's still some positions. We don't know about the interior defensive line, and most of that is based on attrition. You don't have Eric Armstead. You don't have Mason Smith. I have no idea what Eric Armstead is. Did not see him on the field yesterday. Mason Smith, my eye would say he looks close. Watching him go through rehab. I don't know. Obviously, he's not playing tomorrow night. Who knows? He may not play the entire preseason. Same could be said for Armstead. Those candidates could be, they could be candidates for IR. We just don't know at this particular point. I think the best competition is still in the contain. That whole battle for the number 2 corner. Right now, there's no doubt that Jordan Lewis has earned that position to be opposite Tyson Campbell in the base defense. And then, of course, he moves inside to the slot when they go to their nickel coverage. Okay? Now, right behind him, Jarian Jones equally has had a very, very good camp. Okay? And, I would assume with Buster Brown being out, and who knows, he could be another candidate for the IR. But before Buster went down with the lower body injury, he was really the leader in the clubhouse to be that second corner. Okay? But he's shelved, at least for right now. Does Jones become your starter and you just keep Lewis on the sideline and bring him in when you're in nickel, which in reality, you're going to be a nickel more than base. But that's going to be fascinating. And then, of course, when you bring over Travis Hunter, that changes everything. Okay, Travis Hunter, but that's going to be, we expect, not as much. So there's a lot of depth right there. And, out of all the improved positions, if you look at groups, that's what really stands out to me. I think a lot of people would say the receivers. But I still thought that Kirk was good, and I thought Zay was good. And when he was here, Gabe Davis, was all right. There's the exception of the rule. But anyway, I would make that case. Safety, it's Eric Murray, and then it's a 2-man battle. It's Savage and it's Wingard. Even though I think Antonio Johnson once again has had a very good camp. With this new style of defense that you're going to see tomorrow night, with the 2 safeties in zone coverage and not playing the way they have around here. This new, we keep talking about being able to have your eyes set on the quarterback. How much could that affect things like Antonio Johnson, who's the biggest of them all? This guy hits like a Mack truck, and he's been around the ball. He's had some interceptions in camp. I still think it's Savage and it's Wingard ahead. I may be wrong. But there's still competition there. You can still make a move at safety. So that's going to be pretty cool to watch as well. I think that's honestly what you're looking at as far as position battles at this particular time. I think everything else is set. Now, I as well believe that there are some names around here that you have been used to who may not make this team. Okay? Let me give you a few. Absolutely, when you look at the offensive line, that comes into play for Luke Fortner. I would be surprised if he makes this team. even though Liam Cohen worked with him at Kentucky. I just don't think he's strong enough to be in this league. Okay? I'd be very surprised if he makes the team. I'd be very surprised if Javon Foster makes this team. Another draft pick, a 2024 fourth-round pick. Keep talking about IR, and I don't know because there's still plenty of time, but I think when you examine Cole Van Lanen now, a guy who was the swing tackle a year ago, he was your third tackle. I'm sure that was part of the plan this year for him to be the third tackle, although there was a lot of hype with Fred Johnson. I don't think he's lived up to that hype. Cole Van Lanen could still be a possibility of the IR, and therefore, that could open up another offensive line position, at least to start the season. Defensively, this is pretty cool when you look at it. I think the roster feels like it's set outside of maybe, a defensive tackle that they could possibly acquire. If they're going to the waiver wire, once you get to your 53, I'd set the waiver wire at like one and a hook. You tell me they're going to add one player, they're going to add two players. I think that's it. I think they like their roster. But it would be defensive tackle for me where I would add, and so much of that is going to be depending on the health of Armstead and Smith. But they like their edge. All right? They're happy there with the four that they got. Miles Cole, can you bury him on the practice squad? He's enormous. I don't know if he can play. You'd love to be able to look at him as a project and just throw him on the PR for one more year. Or the PS, right? The practice squad. That's kind of the way I look at Miles Cole. I can't sit here and tell you that he showed out so far in camp. I just haven't noticed anything. I've noticed BJ Green more. I've noticed Ethan Downs more. Honestly. Okay. Linebacker's fascinating to me. Is Chad Muma going to make this team? Right? You know where you are with Lloyd. You know where you are with Foyer and Ventrell Miller and Jack Kaiser. Okay, those are your four. Where's Chad Muma? Where's he in all of that? And then, they're not going to be out there all that much, but I look at the strong side linebacker when they're in a base. Perfect case scenario for me would be to have your three linebackers, Foyer, Lloyd, and Ventrell Miller. That's what I would like. Now, this all becomes about scheming, and it's a chess match. Are you instead going to put out someone that they believe is better at the strong side and, I don't know, perhaps better in coverage? Yasir Abdullah, listed as a starter. I've thought all along that he has to have a great camp in order to make this team. That's just the way I've always felt about Yasir Abdullah. Again, this latest one is unofficial. He's the guy that is got to make plays tomorrow night. Dennis Gardeck, they brought him in. He can be he can be a guy off the edge. He can be a guy that can be an outside linebacker. He's battling back from the torn ACL. They just took him off the pup. I would assume he's going to make it, but need to see some things out of him. Jalen McLeod, a rookie, right? Maybe he's an IR candidate. Not sure, not sure what the significance of his particular injury is. So, these are guys you can look at. Then you get to the contain. I already talked to you about Daniel Thomas. Levi Wallace all of a sudden is a guy they just added with a lot of experience. Some of these younger corners look good, like DeAndre Prince, Zachariah McPherson. What you hope is that some of those names that I just mentioned are not going to make this team. You hope you can develop them. Injuries happen all the time. I look at a guy like Christian Braswell, selected in 23, sixth-round pick. Didn't make the team a year ago. I thought he had a wonderful camp. They had him on the practice squad all year. There have been times in camp where Braswell has looked really good. I also noticed him on special teams. It's a numbers game. Right now, he's just not a part of the numbers. But things change quickly because of attrition. And he's a perfect example of a guy who could, that's the key word, who could, developed here with this team, and then all of a sudden, a couple of years down the road, ends up being a big part of the team. There's one guy to look at right there. You know, you can make a similar case with Buster Brown, 7th-round pick a year prior to that, in the final year of his contract. You know, that's what you got to do. You got to develop these players and make them better. The practice squad rules still under COVID, so there's more positions. I think it's 16 on the practice squad, which I think every NFL team is excited about. All right, let's check the money. Let's do that with our good buddy Rafael Esparza. Odds have changed a little bit as far as to win the Super Bowl. Of course, preseason football well underway. The overs have been dominant in the first 4. I believe that's the case. I'll ask Rafael. So we'll do that on the other side as Rafael Esparza joins us on Into the Night. Hey, folks, Rick Ballou here for John's Auto. They've been a staple in Jacksonville going all the way back to 1985. At John's Auto, they service all makes, all models, cars, trucks, diesel, you name it, they do it. Whether it's routine maintenance or a complete engine overhaul. Call John's Auto on Arlington Road. That's 904-743-3857 or go to johnsautomotivejacks.com.
I used to dread going to the dentist. Every visit felt like a sales pitch with constant upselling, surprise fees on my bill, and I could never get in when I needed to. But Harbor Dental Care? Totally different. They saw me the next day, gave me honest pricing up front, and even set me up with a payment plan I could actually afford. No pressure, no surprise charges, just kind people who get it. If you want to experience dentistry the way it should be, book your appointment today at harbordental.care. That's HARBOUR dental.care.
Hey, it's Joe C. My friends at CSS Fireplaces and Outdoor Living can elevate your grilling experience with a durable, high-end grill from great brands like Coyote, DCS, Alfresco, and American Made, and make an outdoor kitchen custom-built to your taste and lifestyle. Visit their local showroom and see all the new displays at CSS Fireplaces and Outdoor Living.
You dream it, we build it. CSS.
Need or want cash? Beaches Jewelry and Pawn has cash available. Ready to buy guitars, surfboards, jewelry, firearms, tools, and especially gold. They need it all, selling or pawning. Get cash on the spot at Beaches Jewelry and Pawn in Jacksonville Beach.
Hi, folks. I'm Frank Frangie, and I got to tell you, I can't fix anything. I would be so lost with plumbing problems if not for Duck Duck Rooter. But everybody knows to call the Duck. Well, I do too. Whether it's plumbing, air conditioning, septic, they handle all of it, and nobody does a better job than our friends at Duck Duck Rooter. Any of those needs you have, call them today, 904-862-6769, or go to duckduckrooter.com. If you've got problems, call Duck Duck Rooter. They'll handle it. I guarantee it.
Yo, E.T. here, and Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, your favorite drafts are poured at a frosty 29 degrees, and rare barrel-aged whiskeys are served just the way you want them. It's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes through in the clutch every day, from lunch to late night? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar, Twin Peaks. Scratch Kitchen scores every time. Dig into hand smashed burgers, chef-inspired flatbreads, and more at your local lodge. Come on, somebody.
Hi, I'm Mac with Baker Glass. If you've got fogged up windows, let me help. We'll replace them with clear, insulated units that brighten up your home. People say we're fast, friendly, and reliable. Just check out our Google reviews. Call me today. Baker Glass. No one treats you better.
You'll always feel good when you send someone a Kuhn Flowers floral or plant arrangement. This is RJ with 1010XL, and no matter what the reason, Kuhn Flowers has always come through for me. Order online at kuhnflowers.com.
When it comes to towing products, your safety is the priority at Cannons of Jacksonville. Cannons has decades of experience to ensure your towing setup is installed with precision and reliability. Visit cannonsofjacks.com, your trusted partner for a smoother tow.
If life blindsided you tomorrow, would your family struggle? I'm Cody with Harborstone Financial, and I can help. One call could protect your family for life. 904-885-9566. Harborstone Financial.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555, Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Checkmate Coatings phone line.
Hello.
Your floor's missing piece.
Vegas, baby, Vegas!
Las Vegas, Nevada.
With Ballou on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Let's bring in Rafael Esparza with his new theme music. How you doing, Rafael?
I am doing well. How about yourself?
What's up with all the tourist stuff I hear? You guys are down like 11%. What's going on? Why aren't people going to Vegas?
I mean, people are going to spend their money to doing family trips more than I think adult trips. And I mean, Vegas, they still think people want to spend the money. They haven't dropped their prices. So it doesn't shock me. I mean, I tell people Vegas not even a sports gambling mecca in the States anymore.
I remember when Vegas used to give away stuff, give away food, give away booze. You know, as long as you were gambling, I mean, you could get a steak for $2 for crying out loud.
Yeah, that doesn't exist anymore. I'm a little bit excited that you saw U2 at the Sphere. I'm excited to see Metallica at the Sphere. So at least we'll have something in common.
When's that coming? When will Metallica coming?
I think the end, what I'm hearing, I think it's maybe in the fall of 2026.
Yeah, Derek Trucks told me that he played out there as well with the Grateful Dead, or what remains of the Grateful Dead, and said it was a lot of fun. So I don't know. We shall see. It's a phenomenal place to see a concert, no doubt about it. All right, correct me if I'm wrong, but are the overs so far 4-0 during preseason football?
That is correct. A perfect 4-0 so far. I mean, the Carolina just scored, so that game started off a little bit slow pace. That total opened up to Cleveland, Carolina, opened up at 32.5. But all the way up, some 34s popped up before kickoff. So I think these two games they're playing right now, Detroit, Atlanta's only 3-0 in the late first quarter. So maybe some of these unders will start cashing. But like yesterday, all three of them, and we had a tie. I was so happy to see a tie because everyone makes fun of me love to watch soccer and all that. I can't watch a sport that ties. And we saw a tie last night, so it made me smile.
Yeah, significant line movement here in Duval was announced yesterday. Liam Cohen's going to play his starters for reportedly around 1 quarter. Mike Tomlin going to sit down about 20 of his players. So that game was even. It moved 4.5 points.
Yeah, I mean, and we'll probably see. We'll see 5. I don't think we'll see 5.5. I think the betting public, it's the 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. It's not the noon game or the 4 o'clock game. So I will see a 5 on that just because I think the bettors will read that tomorrow as well and pound Duval.
I'm going to, you know what, you know everything about the great world of handicapping, but I think there's a chance here I could possibly ask you a question that you have never been asked before. Live in-game betting. Okay, there used to be a feeling about preseason. A lot of people just say, no way. Others say, what are you talking about? There's money to be made. We watch regular games. It doesn't matter what it is, hockey, baseball, basketball. We get a real good feeling as to how the game is going. Can you do that live game in betting third quarter into the fourth quarter when you start putting in players that you haven't seen yet?
It's not that many books. I know a couple books have done live betting in preseason games, not that many. And people like, oh, I crush preseason football. I really do. I mean, but first of all, the limits are low. You can probably only get to win 2,000 on games, maybe a dime on a total and all that. Preseason games is the same thing that tell me it's customer appreciation 3 weeks for gamblers. Okay, beat us on preseason. We'll get that money back 1 through 18 weeks.
Interesting. Well, it shows you that I'm not a gambler because I wasn't aware that only a few books. Who do you have? Hard Rock, Dylan, Hard Rock Cafe? Do you know? Have you checked it? Do they have live in-game betting during preseason?
I think they do.
Okay.
But they don't have a lot of the props. They just have a lot of the
not that many props.
Okay. Has there been... All right, more than any movement, final question here for you. Now that we're starting to analyze, preseason odds to win the Super Bowl, is there a good reward out there, in your opinion, for not a lot of risk that you think could pay in early February?
I think so. I mean, a perfect example, I'll throw the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'll throw the team that you guys are playing. They were 7-1 to win their division before the Aaron Rodgers fiasco, before all that. I'm still high on Pittsburgh. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to be okay. He's not going to be MVP Rodgers, but if he can give them anything more than they got last year, their defense is going to be better. They're always going to have an offensive line. They're always going to be able to run the ball. They're now plus $5. I think there's a good price for them. If you can win a division, then why wouldn't you sprinkle something on the Super Bowl? So I think there is good value when it comes to teams like that. Maybe Minnesota at 28-1. It could be good value if they get anything possible on quarterback. That could be something issue. Don't forget the Eagles. Everyone was making fun of the Eagles last year. They were as high as 70-1 to win the Super Bowl last year because everyone thought Sirianni should have been fired. This team's a joke. And look who won the ship.
Yeah, they did. Right now I see him at plus 725. Okay, leave us with what's going on this weekend, and also tell us how the listeners can get you, including your brand new show.
Yeah, I just got off my brand new show. You're my last interview. I did 7 interviews today, so you're my last. But you can catch my new show Mondays and Fridays, Betting Outside the Box on Doc's YouTube channel. It's a fun show. We had a good guest on today. You can find me on Coaching Company 5 days a week on Amazon Prime, YouTube TV at 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time in the morning. You can also find me on X at VSI Doc Sports, Instagram at Rafael Esparza.
Always a pleasure, sir. Have yourself a great weekend. We'll talk again next week.
Good luck this weekend. I think Jacksonville does win this game.
There he goes at minus 4.5. Again, a lot of money being dumped on the Jaguars. That is Rafael Esparza. Are you on your account? Can you see if there's any live game?
Yeah, you can do live betting right now.
Oh, you can? Okay.
So I know Carolina's up 7-0. That spread was like 5.5 when it started. It's now 7.5.
Okay.
Falcons up 3-0.
But do you understand my point, though, about, whether you're right or wrong, you have whether you're right or wrong, if you watch an entire game, as you draw into the second half or whatever it may be, third period, 7th, 8th inning, you have a pretty good understanding as to what you think is going on in game. How can you possibly determine that when all of a sudden you're bringing in third and fourth stringers that no one has ever seen before?
Yeah, they a lot of the times, if it's still uncertain, if you're doing live betting in the second half, you won't be able to bet it. Like, they'll have it locked.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And so you'll only be able to bet spreads. But a lot of the player props, they won't be available to bet because it's just so uncertain on what's going to happen.
I need to get with it. Feels like I just need to say forget about it and start wagering and just making game betting the way of the future. It's totally changed everything. As far as the gambling has gone. Okay. If you're joining us for the first time, I think a lot of good comments that have certainly come in from you over the last couple of hours, and certainly looking forward to seeing you tomorrow at the game. I do want to recap. I went through what I thought before the break here are my top 10 Jaguar players so far in training camp 3 weeks in. At 10, it was Parker Washington. 9, Tyson Campbell. At 8, Brenton Strange. 7, Diami Brown. 6, Josh Hines-Allen. Foye Oluokun at 5. Trevor Lawrence, 4. Jordan Lewis, 3. Travis Hunter, 2. And Trayvon Walker at number 1. So there you go. That is the way I have ranked things. You can make the case for several others, I'm sure. And I didn't mention Brian Thomas Jr. If I was to list disappointments, there's 2. Eric Armstead, and he could legitimately be hurt. But as of right now, it just feels like a disappointment. Number 2 would be Fred Johnson. There was a lot of hype on him that he could come in here and win that left tackle job. A couple of folks that I've had conversations with who know the game at the offensive line, not necessarily, impressed with what they've seen. Brian Thomas Jr., there's been a lack of consistency, but I wouldn't say it's been a disappointment, right? I mean, there's been some frustration, but I still remain, believe that he is going to be fine. He's a better game day player than he is a practice player. I think that's the best way to describe Brian Thomas Jr. All right, let's put our final thoughts on this one. Get you ready for Hacker Nation. He will join you tonight at 8 o'clock.
Here's Linda Beaver.
Hey, school's in session, and here's today's lesson. We have hundreds of certified vehicles to choose from, starting as low as $89.99. Plus, they come with a 7-year, 100,000-mile peace of mind warranty and free oil changes. That means you and your soon-to-be drivers will be protected. Plus, every purchase allows us to fund teachers' projects for the entire school year. Your next assignment, get to Beaver Toyota in St. Augustine, Beaver Chevrolet in Jacksonville, or Beaver Mitsubishi in St. Augustine. We're here to wow you and our teachers.
Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you. For lost or broken keys or nearly any make and model of vehicle, call 722-1111 for Instant Keys locksmith service.
DivorceMenOnly.com. This is Kenny Lay of Kenny Lay & Associates. Our firm specializes in representing men in family law. That's all we do. That's our only focus. We can help with all of your family law needs, such as divorce, custody, alimony, and child support. For over a decade, we have helped thousands of men with these types of issues. We even have an appellate division ready to challenge a judge's ruling. If you need a family law attorney, go to DivorceMenOnly.com. DivorceMenOnly.com. Offices, Jacksonville.
Football season is here, so I've got to get organized. Lauren Brooks here. Closets by Design creates custom storage for every space, lifestyle, and budget. From closets to garages to laundry rooms or entertainment centers, wherever that clutter has taken over. Call today to schedule a free in-home consultation and receive 40% off plus an additional 15% off with free installation. Yes, that's 40% off plus an additional 15% off this month only. Call 904-878-9393 or visit closetsbydesign.com.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialist is now offering ortho walk-in appointments. If you have an immediate need for orthopedic care, contact Southeast Orthopedic Specialist immediately. Avoid ERs and urgent care waiting rooms. For more information, go to se-ortho.com.
Relieve pain and get back to life. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Denny Thompson here. Look, don't get left in the dark. We're all trying to reason with hurricane season, so at least be prepared. For top-of-the-line generators in Jacksonville, I turn to Tyson. Licensed pros at Tyson deliver reliable, whole-home standby generators and provide fast repair service. They even do custom installations for local businesses, so don't wait. Ensure seamless installation and peace of mind. Call Tyson now, 904-762-1000 for a free estimate on generator services. TysonInc.com.
Lauren Brooks here for Terminix. As temperatures warm up around us, ants come out in droves. And when they move into your home or business, it's unnerving. Terminix knows that ants add up fast. But Terminix subtracts them faster because living with ants isn't any fun. When ants show up, so does Terminix. Don't live with an ant problem, Terminix it. Visit Terminix.com today to schedule a free inspection online. That's TERMINIX.com.
Hey, Hicken here for my friends at Clean and Freaks at Zero Res. Great time of the year to get your house Zero Resified. And right now, you can get your entire home clean from Jacksonville's ultimate carpet cleaner. You'll get 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at just $135. Plus, they're throwing in a free hallway and take $100 off the air duct cleaning. Schedule your appointment at ZeroResJacksonville.com or call 287-5727 and ask for the 1010XL special. Zero Res, spell it backwards or forwards. It spells the same. Zero Res.
Zero Res. Have you got concrete or asphalt rubble piling up? Arcosa Crushed Concrete will pay you for it and recycle it. They're just minutes from Everbank Stadium on Talleyrand. Call Arcosa Crushed Concrete and get paid for what you don't need. ArcosaCrushedConcrete.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, the cool down with Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing, keeping Jack's cool since 1987.
Jacksonville, no media access today. I imagine just a walkthrough over at the Miller Electric Center as they get ready for tomorrow night and the preseason game number 1. Pittsburgh in town. They won't play 20 starters, according to Mike Tomlin. Liam Cohen yesterday telling us that everyone will play. That includes Travis Hunter. Both ways, a lot of line movement because of those two announcements. Jacksonville was even with Pittsburgh, now favored by 4.5. Total up to 36.5 points. So pregame show begins at 4. Game does begin at 7. I love this. The 4042 says, Rick, you're telling us listeners that just because Brian Thomas Jr. is dropping the ball in practice, he'll catch it in the game. Yes, that's exactly what I'm telling you. He's a better game day player than he's a practice player. He's human. I want to say he had 7 drops a year ago. What did he end up with? 80, 82, 88 receptions. I mean, it was something crazy like that, considering, he wasn't even targeted, hardly at all in the beginning part of the season. Before we bring in Hacker Nation, let me find that real quick as to what the overall numbers were a year ago for Brian Thomas Jr. Okay, right here. He 133 targets, 83 receptions, 10 touchdowns, an average of 14.7 after picking up 1,282 yards. Averaged 75.4 yards again. Had 562 yards after the catch. Wow. That's impressive. I want to say 7 drops. I'll check that out. But in the meantime, let's do this.
Now, the 2-minute drill is driven by nobody but Nimnicht. Nimnicht Chevrolet on Cassett Avenue and Nimnicht Buick GMC on Phillips Highway.
You agree with that definition? Brian Thomas Jr., better game day player than practice player?
Absolutely. In fact, I have my first fantasy draft tomorrow. I have the 8th pick, and if Brian Thomas Jr. is there, I will have no trepidation in drafting him in the first round tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. Any concern at all that, Mac Jones targeted him a heck of a lot more than Trevor did? As a matter of fact, I want to say he had more receptions from Jones than he did Lawrence. I'm not 100% on that, but this is a work in progress, getting these two on the same page.
Which is why I think you're going to see the starters tomorrow. Again, I think Liam Cohen's made it pretty clear that if they had a couple of joint practices with numerous teams, the starters might not play tomorrow. But because they only have the one joint practice against the Dolphins, kind of forces your hand to play them. The Jaguars are going to be in a rock and a hard place tomorrow because if they look good, well, the Steeler backups are in. Mm-hmm. And if they don't look good, then it's a big story because they didn't look good against the Steeler backups. So it kind of is unfortunate that Pittsburgh's not going to play a lot of their guys. Having said that, you can only control what you can control, and Jacksonville should, with their starting offense, be able to go out there and do what Cincinnati did last night. The Bengals played their starters against the Philadelphia backups. Burrow carved them up to the tune of 9 of 10 for 2 touchdowns. No, I'm not asking Trevor to do that, but you want your starters to look sharp against the other team's backup players.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about it all the time. I know I do on my show all the time. It's just the fact that they weren't ready to go the last couple of years at 1 o'clock on Sunday offensively. Be great tomorrow night, even against backups, if this offense grabbed the football, drove the field, and scored a TD.
Yeah, you'd like to see Brian Thomas do well because, again, he's had an up-and-down camp. I heard you talking about that. I agree. And, of course, everybody's going to go down to see Travis Hunter. That'll be the big story. How much does he play on offense? How much does he play on defense? It's one of the most anticipated preseason games we've had around here in a long time, that's for sure.
All right, what do you got coming up tonight?
Yeah, obviously we're going to talk a lot about the game tomorrow, kind of give my thoughts of the 4 or 5 guys that maybe don't get enough talk that I'm kind of looking forward to seeing. We got the Mangler, Greg Huntington. We got Gary Davenport of Bleacher Report to get you ready for some of the fantasy football drafts. And also Fred Weary, a former Florida Gator All-American, to talk about going from defensive back to wide receiver. So a little bit of everything tonight, Rick, until 10 o'clock.
All right, have a lot of fun. And fifth quarter tomorrow or no?
No. We did that 1 year. And
preseason?
It was not enjoyable. So we will kick off the 5th quarter on Sunday, September 7th, the regular season opener.
Right. Sounds good. There he goes. That's Hacker Nation. Have a great show.
Thanks, buddy.
Been a lot of fun this week. Really enjoyed it. 3rd week of training camp. That'll continue next week. Of course, we'll see you tomorrow night at the bank. Leave early. It's going to take a little bit to get there. Be patient. Did I just say that? Did I just end the show by telling Jaguar fans to be patient? Let me take that back. I meant only in the sense of driving to the stadium, not as a fan base. Enjoy yourself at the game. I think it's going to be pretty cool, considering it's preseason, to see what Liam Cohen has in store. That'll do it. Thank you to Rafael Esparza. Thank you to Dylan Denmark. My name is Rick Ballou. We'll talk Monday at 6 o'clock.